So, if you have an email address, which, let's be real here, you do have one because it's the 21st century and even my grandma has an email address at this point, you've probably gotten a few spam emails, and even if you haven't gotten this one in particular, you've surely heard about the Nigerian prince scams. Honestly, we've all heard about this one, and many of us, including myself, have gotten an email from some far-off alleged prince from Nigeria who, for whatever reason, needs to flee his country, and the only way of him bringing his riches over is by transferring the money over to me, and by helping him, I end up getting a cut of his money.
Got a new email here, and it's from a Nigerian prince. It says he's got millions frozen in an account. All he needs is $100 grand to pay legal fees, and then as soon as he gets his money, I get $1 million.
Wow, and he must need it quick, because there was like a bazillion typos in that email.
Of course, though, there is one little catch, which is typically you have to pay a fee before you can get the riches transferred over to your bank account. And surprise, surprise, after either paying the fee or giving him all your information, you don't end up getting millions of dollars.
Say what?
And sometimes more. So of course, these are scams, and it's pretty obvious to most people by now because these have been around forever. They're known as advanced fee scams because you have to pay a fee in advance. It's also known as a 419 scam, which refers to a section of the Nigerian criminal code. What I find personally crazy about this, though, is that this particular scam's been going on since what feels like the birth of the internet. And not only that, but to this day, people still fall for it. According to this CNBC article, these scams rake in $700 a year. I mean, that's a lot of money, and that's a lot of people who are still falling for the same old, pretty obvious scam that's been circling around for decades now. This sort of got me thinking, why do people keep falling for this obvious scam? And of all things, why is it a Nigerian prince, or at least some kind of Nigerian royalty? I was expecting some kind of cool story, and there are some online, but ultimately it boils down to this. It pretty much relies on the fact that people are pretty uninformed about the world. Basically, all they have to do is send out mass emails to hundreds upon thousands of people and hope that they get a few bites out of it. Because all they need is somebody who's dumb enough to see an email from somebody claiming to be a prince from an African country, and obviously they must be telling the truth, because they don't quite seem to understand how things work in the real world. Funnily enough though, the majority of these scams don't even come from Nigeria. From what I've read, it seems like just over 60% of these come from the US of A, and only 6% actually come from Nigeria. I mean, really, if you wanted to, anybody could send an email claiming to be a prince from just about anywhere. I mean, even I could send out an email saying that I'm a Nigerian prince and that I desperately need your help, and that you have to send me just a simple $100 clearance fee so that I can send you over my money. It's not hard for anyone to do. I mean, I could send out an email saying I'm the Queen of England as well, and it would be just about as honest as any Nigerian prince email that's ever been sent out. Personally, I find it kind of fun to mess with these scammers. Whenever I get an email from them, I like to waste their time, and honestly, it's kind of fun to see how they react. Oftentimes you get an automated machine, but every once in a while you get lucky and there's a real person there who desperately wants your money and just keeps on talking to you. Recently I was playing around with one of these and I assume he accidentally sent me this list, which according to a word counter had over 25,000 emails, all in alphabetical order, which I assume are all emails that he had sent this to in hopes to get some money. So this just gives you an idea of how big the spectrum is, how many people are getting these emails, and it's not anything precise. They don't exactly know who's gonna fall for it, but it's a quantity over quality type thing. Even if it's an obvious scam to you or I, if they send it to enough people, they're sure enough to find somebody who's uninformed and just doesn't know and ends up falling for it. Just a few people can get them a few $100s or even more. I mean, they can even scam you out of your identity, which could cause you to lose even more than just a few $100s. Now, if you are curious about how I messed with this particular scammer, I'll also post a video shortly. I'll add a card in so you can see that. It's nothing too special, but it is sort of funny, in my opinion, and I like telling people about it. Now, 25,000 emails is a lot of emails, and if you're wondering how they managed to get those emails, there's a couple different ways, and it's not like they're sitting there just typing AAA@outlook.com and then AAB@outlook.com and then AAC@outlook.com and so on and so forth until they actually get a person. What I find actually crazy is that Out of all these ways that you can acquire the emails, one of the easiest ways is that you can buy these email lists off of people. This isn't some kind of like shady dark web thing, where you go and hire some hitman. This is a thing that you or I could do with relative ease. Like, go on eBay right now and just type in email list, and you'll see a ton of them, going for as low as like less than $1. Ultimately, at the end of the day, you just want to be careful online. Use your brain, use common sense. There's a saying that I really like that I find applies to a lot of this, which is, if it's too good to be true, then it probably is. There's no way that you're just going to have somebody show up and tell you that you've won some kind of lottery that you don't remember entering.
What's this? I've won the Spanish National Lottery?
No, it's a scam.
Yes, a scam. My goodness, I'm rich! And to think I didn't even know I had a ticket.
And that you're going to magically become a millionaire from there. That's just not how it happens. I mean, imagine if somebody on the street came up to you and told you that he was royalty, and that if you gave him $100, he would give you $1 million. Would you believe him?